Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome back. This is Santosha, and today we're talking about spiritual warfare. We see around us everywhere activity increasing of violence and war, but we don't realize what is happening at a subtle level, which is basically the most important aspect, right? And actually, what we see in the physical, it's actually uh, coming from the upper dimensions, from the spiritual. So we have this question: does evil exist? It's one question that we come across on the spiritual path, and there are many answers and different opinions. I want to share with you briefly mine, and the best answer I could find is related to the law of one, which is best described in the Ra manuscript, the Ra contact. I won't go into details now, but I will just give you the essence of it, because in order to talk about the spiritual warfare, we need to first clarify what is evil. Does it exist, or is it an illusion? And the answer is both. It's an illusion. It doesn't exist in reality, but it exists in the world of the mind. Let me clarify. So, the basic law that governs this universe is the law of one, of unity. And the creator is beyond this, beyond duality. All universe is permeated with love, which is basically the essence of the law of one. So, from this perspective, there is no duality. There's no bad and good. There's no evil and good. So, in order for creation to exist, the eternal consciousness, the cosmic consciousness, had to create the dualities: good and bad, night and day, plus and minus, in order for the creation to exist, to create movement, the energy to manifest. So, taking this into consideration, the evil is inevitable in creation, in the world of the mind, in the world of time, or we can call it illusion, but it's only as far as we go into the world of the mind and we get lost there. So, what is evil? Evil is what contradicts the law of oneness, the law of one, which is the law of love. What is positive, it's what is in accordance, in alignment with the law of one. So, taking that more practically, in let's say entities, either that are in body or not, are polarized in one of the two, either to the positive polarity, which gets closer to love and service to others, or the negative polarity, which is service to self. What does that mean? Service to the ego. And that means more control, more power, more force, manipulation, and so on, in order to gain more for itself. What is the positive polarity? It's the law of oneness, service to others, forgetting the little self and um, taking care of the whole, which includes the self, because it's part of all. So it's not abandoning the self, it's not sacrifice, right? So, from this perspective, this is the battle between good and evil, because each polarity has its own spiritual path. The one on the positive has the service to other, becoming more full of light, of love, of expansion. The other one, it's more on control contraction. But the thing is that the entities who are on the negative polarization and path, which is not bad, right? To make this clear, believe that what they're doing is good. Like for example, Hitler or some other criminals, or I don't want to mention today's politics and so on, what's going on. Well, that we'll save that for another discussion. But what they believe is that they're doing a good thing, right? Which for the positive, of course, sounds very ridiculous. How can that be? But we have to look beyond this, like from the law of one, beyond duality. There's neither good or bad. It's just a manifestation of one energy, of one creation. So we couldn't have this universe, this creation, without the two. So in order to transcend this, so how we fight the spiritual warfare? There are more levels. First level is to transcend it and not to judge it, because if we do, we take the fight on the same level, which is the world of the mind. And even if we have good intentions, we are drawn into the negativity. Yeah, so it's not the proper fight. So first of all, we need to transcend, to see it from the higher perspective, to not judge it, and to abide in the energy of love, of compassion, like Mother Teresa or Gandhi did. But in the same time, doesn't mean to stay passive and not to take action and not to respond, right, for what is appropriate. Of course, there are measures to be done in order to fight the evil, but not in this level of consciousness, where is the ego fighting the ego, right? We take it to love fighting the fear. So there are more practicalities, of course, of these principles. Now we're speaking high level, but in practical terms, so do we need to protect ourselves from the evil if we're attacked? Of course, but the best protection, again, is love. Of course, we need to shield ourselves. We need to protect our mind. We need to protect our hearts. The fathers of Christianity would say, pray unceasingly, protect your heart without stopping. And of course, we need to understand also the negative path. What is their spiritual practice, how they acquire power and spiritual power in order to be able to fight this war at a subtle level. But the best protection, as I said, is being in alignment with the source. I remember many years ago when I was in an ashram in India, we were at the meeting with the master, who was a spiritual master, realized, and we were taught there how to clean the energy, to do a lot of practices and so on. And at the meeting, I was sharing what I was doing and so on, and the master looked into my energy and he said, you don't need to do any of that because you're in bhav. Then that means spiritual emotion, that means presence, connection with the self, with the eternal presence, where you perceive the presence of God in everything. And he said, you don't need to do this clearing of the energy or protection, because in this you are most protected. And that was shocking for me at that time. But it becomes more and more obvious. Of course, during the daily life, we cannot be all the time in this state. There are many distractions and we kind of lose it. Of course, we aim for it. But that's why we need other tools as well. So we'll discuss more about this at the workshop that we're doing the spiritual warfare for light workers, for those who are following the positive polarity, who want to bring more light and are ascending to light. We'll discuss more in details, like what are the tools, the weapons, right? And also to understand the negative path and how it attacks us, what are the tricks, the subtleties, because we need to be aware of this in order to fight this war in properly. Otherwise, we'll get tricked and we'll suffer because of it. We'll lose a lot of energy, a lot of positive polarity, and we won't be able to do our work, our sadhana, our dharma. So I hope it was a good introduction for you. Hope you took at least the basic principles from it, and I'll see you in the next video. Namaskar.